Why is everybody so freaked out about Tim Tebow? You sound like the dumbest people on the face of the earth when you compare Tim Tebow trying out to make the Jaguars and Colin Kaepernick. You sound like an idiot. You sound like somebody who so badly wants to make a point, right? You become that guy. You know that guy who you have a point you want to make. The point has been made. You feel like it's not fair. There's a lot of nuance to why Kaepernick is never going to be in the NFL again. Wasn't going to be in the NFL again for the last couple of years. All of these things, like this is an interesting conversation. But I chose to take the morning and just listen. That's what I've done. Just listen. Watch sports on TV. Listen, read. I just take it in the morning when I had a cup of coffee early, had my dog, and we're just like, I'm just going to listen and watch. And there's like 5 people in sports media who want to make some statement, some grandiose statement. And I heard Bucky Brooks on Colin Kapernick, and thank God for Bucky Brooks. He's like, yeah, this kind of happens everywhere. Coach brings in their guys. It's really what it is. which is like, here's the bigger point. It relates to the Tebow thing and trying to make Urban Meyer's team. It relates to the Aaron Rodgers story as well. The real life is just like the game of Survivor. They tell you in business it's not about what you know, but who you know. Damn right it is. Right? You'll have alliances and conflicting alliances. And that becomes really, really hard to manage. It's what started World War I. You don't have to like the show Survivor. You don't have to like the characters. You don't have to respect the players. You should respect the game because that's how it works. ESPN's Jeff Darlington. Not everybody, obviously Urban Meyer is the one behind all of this, but not everybody in the Jaguars building is thrilled with this. They don't think that it necessarily sends a proper message to the team in the locker room, and the guys are trying to make this team. Devin Bush, who plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tebow just got Kaepernick. Wait till we play Jacksonville. Okay, Devin, you sound like an idiot. Hey, Gavin, you got a computer in front of you?
I do.
Can you Google for a second?
Okay.
Pittsburgh schedule 2021. The dates have not been released, but the opponents have been released. Do the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Jacksonville Jaguars?
They do not.
I want you to Google and make sure. Make sure you have the teams. We know they're not in their division in the AFC North. Okay, so they're not the Ravens, not the Bengals, they're not the Browns. Okay, they're not any of these teams. Help me out. Go and give me the other teams the Steelers play. Make sure that the Jaguars are not among them.
Okay, obviously Ravens, Bengals, Browns. They also have the Bears, Broncos, Lions, Raiders, Seahawks, Titans. They have the Vikings, Chargers, Chiefs, Packers, and Bills.
But no Jaguars.
No Jaguars.
Okay. So, first of all, you sound like a complete buffoon relating Kaepernick to Tebow. Right? Second of all, you sound like an even bigger buffoon talking about, can't wait till we play Jacksonville. First of all, they're not even on your schedule. Second of all, Tebow's not even on the team yet. Third of all, don't you have an injury to come back from that's a little bit more important than throwing yourself into this kind of woke passion fest for Colin Kaepernick? Bro, last time Colin Kaepernick was a good quarterback was 2013. You were a sophomore in high school. It's obviously part of your formative years. Okay? But you're now a professional. And oh yeah, by the way, Devin, when you turn 36, you should hope that Jim Harbaugh is a head coach in the NFL. Do you know why? Because the way the world really works is those alliances, those, hey, I was with him once and I was great once. That's what gets you a job. That's what gets you a job. It's why you go to Ohio State or why you go to Michigan or why you go to Florida, right? Gators hire Gators, Buckeyes hire Buckeyes, Wolverines hire Wolverines. In sports, we talk about football families and basketball families all the time. My basketball family is going to celebrate the Hall of Fame induction of Eddie Sutton this Saturday in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's going to be a great day. Great day. And anytime I need something, really, really, really need something, do you know who I call? I call the people who coached me, knew me, school I played at, people who went there, those connections. Those are my alliances. if you haven't figured it out yet, okay, the world works exactly like Survivor. You want to know why Colin Kaepernick's not in the league? He was about to go to the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh is the coach. Yes, he happens to be related to Jim Harbaugh, who coached Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco. Greg Roman's our offensive coordinator, who coached Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco. Why didn't that happen? Because his girlfriend put out a meme likening the owner of the Ravens to Django Unchained and a slave owner. Yeah, it didn't sit all that well with Steve Bisciotti. Didn't, especially a guy who was loyal to Ray Lewis after all that Ray Lewis went through and put the franchise through. Right? Like the idea you call guys a racist because who stands by all of his players, black, white, or otherwise, kind of comical. And oh yeah, by the way, it's infuriating to the point where you can't get a job. And guess what happens with that alliance? Goes away. Love you, would do anything for you. Can't have you on my football team. Why? The owner's pissed. The owner's pissed. So Jeff Darlington can report that some guys, who cares that some guys don't? The only thing that matters is what the head guy wants. And the head guy is Urban Meyer. And he's tired. He took over a franchise that's been good twice. Once way back in the day, Mark Brunell, Keenan McCardell, Fragile Fred Taylor, those dudes, right? And about like 5 years ago, they beat the Steelers in the playoffs, had the Patriots dead to rights in the first half, chose to kneel on the ball because they didn't trust their quarterback, and they fell apart there shortly thereafter because they extended a quarterback, Blake Bortles, who wasn't good enough. So over 25 years, they've been good twice. And Urban Meyer's like, I'm going to try and turn around the culture here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring back all of the guys who I know, they know what I want. Go look at his coaching staff. And oh yeah, by the way, most of his coaches from college, he hasn't put in positions of power. He just hasn't. He's been really, really smart about it. Why? Well, quite frankly, because if you get right down to it, most of them have been coaching in the National Football League. So he's not gonna put guys in positions to fail. Charlie Strong is his assistant head coach and inside linebackers coach. Right? That is not a position of power. Why would you bring in Charlie Strong, who's been a college coach his entire life, who's part of Alabama's national championship winning team in 2020, who's been a part of Urban Meyer's teams back with the Florida Gators, because he knows the players and he has an alliance to Urban Meyer, who he used to work for. And Darrell Bevell's the offensive coordinator. Darrell Bevell's like, there's no real connection there, but he's a pro. He's a pro. Go to the defensive side of the ball. Chris Ash is his defensive backs coach. Like, Chris Ash, the Rutgers coach? Yeah. Do you know where he was like 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, before it was a disaster at Rutgers? He was an assistant at Ohio State. You bring back guys that know what you want, how you work, and they can spread the gospel of your beliefs in the locker room. That's what Tebow is. And by the way, he hadn't made the team. And he might not make the team. And if he does, it's the last roster spot. He's going to have to play special teams. He's going to have to prove he belongs. Because he can't fool players. If a guy can't play. But we make these ridiculous statements. Just idiotic statements. Comparing and correlating Colin Kaepernick to Tim Tebow. It has nothing to do with, well, Tim Tebow has a belief and look, all the other stuff makes sense. He's trying to make it as a tight end. He's got great energy about him. And he's just going to try and make the team. He's from Jacksonville. Maybe he sells a couple of seats. They've struggled to fill up that building. All of that stuff. The big part is there's an alliance there. There's an alliance. He is part of that football family. And to anybody in that room who says, I don't really get it, well, then you don't get the football family because you're probably not part of it, and means you probably won't be part of it. Right? It's like people who don't understand. In college basketball, it's just like college football. College basketball, if you work for Rick Pitino, you're part of the Pitino family. For better or for worse. And he is the most powerful voice in picking up the phone. And there's CM Newton that he used to have call people. And now he has Billy Donovan call people. Because Billy played for Rick. Rick turned around Kentucky. CM Newton was at Kentucky. It's all it's all one big alliance. It's just like Survivor. Just like Survivor. You know? There's the North Carolina basketball family. There's all these they have football families. What happens when the Patriots and one of the Patriots gets hired somewhere else? Guess who they bring in? Guys that they played with, worked for, whatever. Now, it hasn't worked for the most part outside of New England, but it doesn't stop people from joining up with assets, guys who they know, guys who they're comfortable with. Go look at the Buffalo Bills. Look at the Buffalo Bills. You had a head coach and a general manager who came from Carolina, and a head coach who before that was in Philadelphia. Everybody who he brought over worked with him before. Look at the Washington football team and Ron Rivera. All those guys were with him in Carolina. And by the way, in your place of work, it's probably the same thing. My place of work sure as hell is. My boss is Scott Shapiro. I worked with him at ESPN. So did Colin Kapernick. So did Dan Patrick. That's funny how that works. That's how the world works. You work with somebody, you trust them, you like them, you know their quirkiness, their ins, their outs. You know about how much they make, how much they're worth, where they are in their life. Are they willing to make a change? Can they help you change the culture? Do they work the way you want to work? If you get along with them, you hire them. That's what you do. And all of these idiots who say things about Kaepernick, they just don't get how it works in life. Life is just like Survivor. It is, by my estimation, the most important show for business students to watch in the history of television. I didn't say it's the best. That's Cheers or Seinfeld. Or the funniest. Or the best written. It's not Ted Lasso, which I binged in 2 days and cannot wait for season 2. It's not The Queen, which I'm binging now and I'll watch during breaks. Okay, it's not Breaking Bad, an amazing idea and really, really, really good show. Although I kind of think a bit overrated. I like The Wire better. That's just me. All of that said, the most important show you should watch if you want to know how business actually works is Survivor. Because the other part of Survivor, which is totally accurate, I know for a fact, and you probably do too, you may not want to admit it, is no matter how good some of these friends are and people and alliances are, at the end of the day, push comes to shove, most people, not all, most people, their last default is to protect themselves, worry about themselves and their own livelihood. That plays out in Survivor all the time. That plays out in life all the time. Hey, we're great friends. We're dear friends. We're ultimate. But I don't want to get fired. And if it comes down to me or you, it's going to be you. And all of these guys that make these comments, you know, Devin Bush 11, by the way, has nothing to do with whole race protest thing, just competitor versus competitor. No, it's not. You made a comment about something you don't understand about, and eventually you will. And all of those guys in Pittsburgh, if they go elsewhere, if your defensive coordinator goes elsewhere, you're going to hope that the first call when you're a free agent is from your former defensive coordinator.